Lords of the Fallen has the potential to be one of the surprise hits this year, and now we have a bunch of hands-on previews of the game. Up to now, I have thought that the Fallen gameplay, the Lords of the Fallen gameplay, has looked very, very promising, but with the use of Unreal Engine 5 and the previous game receiving lackluster response, we are still having lingering doubts and skepticisms from many people about this game, some even concerned about the push in the industry to UE5. I've continued to say that this game could sneak into the Game of the Year running and surprise everyone, and certainly the Game of the Year race is heating up, with Baldur's Gate 3 hitting a stunning 97% on Metacritic, beating out Tears of the Kingdom. So let's take a look at some of the previews to get an idea of where Lords of the Fallen is landing. Now, I put all the good information right here at the beginning of the video. It's a live stream, so it's a longer video, but I open it with the monologue. You'll hear all the good info and everything you're looking for, and if you like this kind of content, long form and discussion like a podcast, hit subscribe, hit the bell button so you don't miss out on the content. Lords of the Fallen is looking to make its mark on the Souls-like genre, bringing brand new mechanics, new ideas on how a Souls game can be played, but they also have high aspirations about quality and gameplay. And if the gameplay previews are any indication, they are well on their way. This is the first time we've actually gotten a chance to hear from people who have played the game. So first, I want to pull from those hands-on previews that just dropped. We'll be looking for clues or any indication about Game of the Year potential. I previously stated that I think this game will surprise people, and it already is shaping up that way just from the previews. Second, I will give my own thoughts. I'll say, okay, listen, we previously covered how this game is a new take on the Souls-like genre, and I predicted that it will receive a Game of the Year nomination. I'm definitely looking forward to this title, but I will have some of those questions. Is this in the running for Game of the Year? What exactly do the nominations look like? There's probably going to be about 6 if there is a tie. And my thoughts on this game, there are still some lingering concerns. Given how tight the race is right now, I actually bet we do see 6 Game of the Year nominations, so let's get to the gameplay hands-on previews. I typically like to lean heavily on one preview and then take snapshots from others, and Fextra has a 10-minute video claiming in the title that this is one of the best-looking Souls-likes yet, and they actually start their video talking about the visuals. It won't surprise me if a lot of the previews and the reviews of this game focus on the visuals. This will be one of the first big games to land in UE5, and one of the first Souls-like games to land in UE5. Fextra says that there will be 2 things you notice first about the Lords of the Fallen. First is the distinct art style. It is a lot darker than the original, and has a more dark fantasy tone to it. They feel it is like Dark Souls meets Diablo in terms of brutality, the gruesomeness of the creatures, and the environments. Still, the style of the game is something they think will be appealing to Souls players. The second thing they feel that you're going to notice is that the visuals are stunning. They describe it as looking gorgeous, beautiful, and the environments and character models have great detail. This did cause them to express concern about performance on PC and console, given how good looking the game looks. That has been a running problem in 2023. We have gotten a very mixed bag of games, and some of the best games are still sort of stuck with poor performance, as we've seen in Jedi Survivor. Now, they did say that during their 2-hour playtime session, they did not experience any technical issues or performance issues, so that is encouraging, but vertical slices can be more polished and optimized than the full game. Fextra went on to say that if this game launches without performance issues, it will, quote, Lords of the Fallen will probably be the best looking ARPG to date. When they moved on to talk about gameplay, they said this game had more in common with Souls than the previous. Blocking, parrying, dodging, sort of the way the player moves, even world design is very reminiscent of a Souls game. Items have lore that you can read, there's shortcuts to be found, and they think this is very intentional. And I have to agree. We've done a lot of research on this title. There's been a lot of interviews that have indicated they actually think this is their version of what they thought Dark Souls 4 would be. There was no Dark Souls 4, okay? And they're saying, listen, if they were to build Dark Souls 4, this is the game they would build. So the similarities to Souls is not surprising at all. Now, when they spoke about combat, they said that it feels good and that it is described as responsive. They did say it might not feel quite as good as the Souls games of old. He feels that everyone's sort of trying to catch up with Souls combat, and that Lords of the Fallen does a, quote, pretty good job. In their play session, they did not get far enough to try magic, and much like my own observations, they feel that there is a ton of magic. It looks very crazy. It looks very strong. He did have one criticism of Souls and Elden Ring with respect to magic, in that it is not as creative, and that Lords of the Fallen looks to have some visually impressive magic, but also magic that is creative mechanically. However, again, they did not actually get to use the magic. So these previews that we're looking at were roughly 2 hours. So magic is likely something quite later in the game. I think that's okay. I think the base level combat is probably more important to test out. Now, Fextra Life did get to fight one boss in their play session, and they did talk about how there is NPC summoning in this game, a system similar to Souls and Elden Ring. He said he enjoyed the boss fight, the mechanics were interesting, the visual effects were fantastic, and the music was good. He felt the boss fights in Lords of the Fallen will be more memorable than other Souls-like games. Games like Mortal Shell, Surge, and even the original Lords of the Fallen game were games that he cited where the bosses just aren't that memorable. And I tend to agree. We've already seen some screenshots and some design work for the bosses that look incredibly memorable. It's reminiscent of when we first started seeing some of the bosses in Elden Ring, and they, again, I believe, are very memorable, very iconic, very grotesque and macabre, and this game is certainly falling into that lane. He points to how Hollow Knight and Blasphemous, even though these are 2D games, as Souls games, they have great and memorable boss fights. He thinks Lords of the Fallen can change the fact that Souls-likes haven't really had the best boss fights up to now. He moves on to the realm mechanics that are in the game and how you can actually see into other realms. You can go to this other realm as well. There's a lantern that you can use. There's like these different puzzles you can solve. And he said that this mechanic where you can switch from the Axiom realm to the Umbral realm and then use the lantern to see, you have 2 lives, and if you die, you go to the realm of the dead. You can also sacrifice that extra life and go to that realm voluntarily to find secret paths, areas, and treasure. He said it was very creative and enjoyable from an exploration standpoint, but didn't have enough time to see the overall impact on the gameplay loop. This is where one of my concerns lie. When you truly die, what do you lose? Can you get back to that and get your XP back, your souls back, right? That's typically a trope in these games. That's a mechanic. That's part of the pain. That's part of the threat of loss. Something I'm enjoying about in Remnant 2 is that if I die, I don't really have to worry about losing anything. I just sort of get respawned back in the game, and that's something that is going to be very different in Lords of the Fallen. You will only ever experience true death in the realm of the dead, because when you die, you go there, or you sacrifice a life to go there, and then that's it. That's your last chance. If you die, you die. Now, you can come back out of that realm if you find one of the vestiges, but then that's basically like resting, right? You're going to get your life back. So all true death will happen in the land of the dead. Now, we've not gotten a concrete answer on how that works. If I truly die there, do I have to get back there to get my XP or my souls back? Nobody really answered that in these previews. I was really combing over and looking for that answer. If you have that answer, if you found that answer somewhere from an interview or something, please let me know. Now, he gave a cool example of how the 2 realms play into gameplay. There was a fight where he could not damage an enemy, and the lantern lets you see the other realm, and it revealed there was an enemy in the area buffing the guy that he could see. So he had to kill the guy in the other realm. Now, he did say it got a bit awkward because the movement when the lantern is out is unwieldy, and there is some delay in sort of taking out and putting the lantern away, sort of leading to elements where you're taking damage because you're trying to interact with this mechanic. He expressed some concern this could become gimmicky. Hearing this, I obviously have my own concerns. Like, is that going to be a point of frustration that I'm just trying to get my lantern out to see where this idiot is, and I keep getting hit because I can't move as well with my lantern out? Now, you can use the lantern to do a soul flay where you really hurt somebody, but it's not necessarily going to be something that you're commonly wanting to pull out in the middle of a fight. My guess would be you're going to have to sort of treat this like healing. If you are familiar with Souls games, you can't just heal anytime that you want. It can lead to extra punishment and extra pain if you heal at inopportune times. So same goes for the lantern. If you have to use the lantern to see some secret mechanic, hidden switch, hidden person in the fight, you're going to have to choose the appropriate times to use that lantern. And again, hopefully it's not gimmicky and annoying. Now, the Umbral Realm, the Realm of the Dead, is more challenging. It's dark. It has like a cold feeling. You feel very alone. He said the difficulty in this game is on par with other Souls games, but the Umbral Realm is no joke. It is significantly harder, and he's imagining, you know, some of those masochistic Souls fans that like to impose challenges on themselves. I just saw a guy last night beat Melania with only level 1, like, throwables or something. It was unbelievable. I think his name was Get the Bag. I couldn't believe it. I caught it just at the moment that he did it. It was remarkable. And we know that content creators love to do these sorts of things. So in Lords of the Fallen, you can impose that challenge on yourself and always sort of live in the Umbral Realm, live in the Realm of the Dead. Now, some time was spent talking about how shocked he was about this game being so much larger than the previous, putting it on pace to be one of the largest Souls-like games. Not quite Elden Ring, but still very large. Probably going to be the second largest Souls game in existence, you know, only beat out by Elden Ring. That's what it's shaping up to be. We don't know that for certain, but it certainly sounds that way. Now, he can't wait to dive into co-op, very similarly to how I talk about co-op, but he wants to not really spend any time in PvP. Now, he may be forgetting that PvP can happen and be imposed upon you when you do co-op, according to the devs and according to some interviews. I've never liked that. I would love to just play through a game like this with another person and not worry about disruption and, you know, invasion, but I think they typically see that as a way to sort of balance it out. Now that you're sort of quote-unquote twice as strong and can split the aggro of an enemy, you're going to get invaded. The reason I don't really typically like this is the hardest elements of these games are typically the boss fights, and if you're going to let me summon an NPC and you typically do not allow invasion during a boss fight, why do you need to invade me when I'm just moving around in the world? I know people will disagree with me on this, but I don't really see the point of continuing that trope, because sometimes people just want to play through a game together. And if you're not going to disrupt the most challenging aspect of the game, the boss fights, what's the purpose of doing it when I'm just like wandering around killing trash ads? All right. Now, the video ended saying that those who were unhappy with the first Lords of the Fallen will likely really enjoy this game. He then echoed what many of us have been saying about just how great this year of games has been, especially for RPG or action RPG fans. He says, if you're a fan of action RPGs or Souls-likes or games like this one should be on your list. All right. Now, let's just grab some quick looks at the game. That was pretty much the 10-minute video. I grabbed out what I thought were the high points from Fextra Life, but Game Informer says the following. Nearly a decade after the first, and CI Games is taking another crack at Lords of the Fallen with, well, Lords of the Fallen, and it's doing everything right so far. So their own preview had them concluding that they are doing everything right so far with this soft reboot sequel. Now, they had good things to say about combat. They said, overall, Lords of the Fallen combat feels great. Its action is fast and versatile. Its parry timing is generous, as are the effects of blocking. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how parrying is going to work in Lords of the Fallen, if you mistime it, but you already have it up, it will just be a block. And I actually think this is a perfect way to do parrying. They basically said they didn't want it to be something that you had to absolutely master in order to use. Generally speaking, if a game requires that level of expertise just to parry, I won't do it. I ignored parrying in Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring for this reason. It's like I can roll far more effectively than I can parry. I can block and do guard counter far more effectively than I can parry. I don't really feel like learning a whole new thing, okay? But in this game, you can sort of work on finessing parrying while blocking. So like if you're blocking and not really timing it correctly, at least you're mitigating the damage. And then once you get the timing down and you become a master of the parry, well, now you have something that is a great asset in your arsenal of damage mitigation, as well as doling out your own damage, because it's going to give you those big opportunities against the enemy. So I love their outlook on parrying. I know everybody's going to see this maybe differently, but I do like the idea of, hey, you mistimed your parry, you at least get a block. We're not going to actually punish you for mistiming something so, simple. Now, Game Informer concluded that I'm impressed with how great Lords of the Fallen feels, both to play and how unique its world and systems are to interact with. So they're giving it very, very high praise. Now, IGN thinks this is the game that may finally show what UE5 can do, and they said, I got to play through about 2 hours, and based on those early impressions, Lords of the Fallen is certainly shaping up to leave a mark. They also had good things to say about combat. They said, there's a great fluidity to Lords of the Fallen combat. You can seamlessly flow from light attacks to heavy attacks, and can even change weapon stance in the middle of a combo as well. That is sort of in line with some of my own observations, that the combat looks very fast, very fluid, and not quite as slow and rigid as other Souls games of old, or even just other Souls games that go for a more syncopated and slower style of combat. So very fast, very fluid, the ability to change stances like in the middle of a combo, that sounds extremely interesting. Now, they did have some minor issues with the camera and some sound effects, but nothing major. It wouldn't really be a Souls game if the camera was perfect. Am I right? Right. They enjoyed the boss fights. They felt there was a good balance between being tough and making sure attacks were well telegraphed. So if you don't know what that term means, whenever an attack is telegraphed, it's sort of a clue, either through sound, so a little flash of light, or movement, so you know what's about to come. So there's attacks that are like, there's really, really big windups, and they kind of fake you out and you dodge early. There's very quick attacks. There's attacks where they sort of do a little thing first, and you know, oh, here comes the massive wave, I got to get out of the way. All those little sound clues, movement clues, animation clues, that is basically the enemy telegraphing an attack. It's telling you, hey, it's coming, get out of the way, block, parry, dodge, whatever. And if you can pick up on those things, fights are very satisfying. And they said there was a great balance between the game feeling really tough and having good telegraphs, so you sort of know what's coming, and that really leads to those finessed fights where the enemy can't even touch you. Now, they did, however, think that the best part was the two-world system. They said, by far the most exciting and unique element in Lords of the Fallen is the relationship between the two parallel realms, Axiom and Umbral. Now, this is encouraging, given this is one of the aspects that aims to set Lords of the Fallen apart. Similar to other previews, IGN feels that the game is headed in a good direction. So they all highlighted different things, they all touched on different aspects of the game, but they all really, really get the feeling that this game's going in a good direction. They said the following: it's clear that a lot of lessons were learned from the first Lords of the Fallen, to the point where this new version feels like it's entirely its own thing, and from my early impressions, so far it seems like it's headed in the right direction. So overall, every preview seemed to focus on very similar things. It's pretty, it runs well, combat feels good, the two realms are really cool. So, what are my thoughts? Well, the first thing that really excites me about hearing all of these previews is the reaction to combat. While we are still not sure how impactful, strong, intuitive, and useful magic will be, the base combat is honestly the most important. Because if the magic is creative, strong, important, if it's very useful, it will likely build upon, supplement, and sort of add to the foundation of the Souls combat. So they gotta nail that first. If you can't nail the Souls combat, if you can't nail the basics of parrying and rolling, blocking and swinging and heavy attacks, light attacks, if you can't nail that, then the magic's not going to matter. All that extra stuff is not going to be that important, because the base level foundations of the game aren't good. And everybody seemed to say that it was fluid, it was fast, it was responsive, and most importantly, it was enjoyable. If Lords of the Fallen can create a smooth, responsive, and accurate combat system in Unreal 5, it could be just what the genre needs. FromSoft deserves the reverence and the respect that they are typically given, but we all know the FromSoft engine has some rough spots. A swath of polished Souls-like games landing in UE5 could be very good for future games. The second thing I was encouraged by was the positive response to the two realms. Sadly, we still don't have a concrete answer on exactly how this will impact the overarching content loop. Primarily the loop of dying and going back for what you lost. That's a huge element in the Souls-like world. If you've never played a Souls game before, one of the main aspects of risk, reward, and fear in the game is that if you die, you lose your souls, which is basically XP. It's a currency that you use to level up your character's strength or adrenaline, like basically your energy, your stamina, your resolve, like all these different stats, essentially. And I'm using the wrong words, but I'm trying to convey the point that you don't want to lose that. If you want to give yourself a whole lot more stamina or a whole lot more strength and power, you can't be losing your XP all the time. So that's a massive element of these games, and we do not know exactly how that's going to play out in Lords of the Fallen, because with 2 lives and the 2-world system, sure, they could add to the Souls genre with this. They could innovate. They could make it better, but it could also become a nuisance and a needless annoyance. You know, essentially what I'm saying is, if I'm always having to go back to the realm of the dead to get my souls back, then you're sort of creating a whole new rut in the content loop. Every single death requires an extra step to sort of get back what you lost. In most Souls games, every death means, hey, get back to where you just were a second ago and get your stuff back. Generally speaking, it happens in boss fights, boss rooms, and you just kind of run back in the room, grab it quick, and then you get back to business. If I'm constantly having to go to the realm of the dead by sacrificing a life, then I get my souls back. Now I'm right there again in that harder environment, harder combat, more punishing, and I'm down to 1 life. If that's something they want to be a central identity marker of their game, then great. Hopefully, it lands well. Now, since they made this such a central aspect of the game, the 2 worlds, I would hope and anticipate they were very thoughtful about this implementation. Now, the last thing I was encouraged by was the mere fact that they are letting the press touch the game this early. The game's release date is 2 months away, October the 13th. So it's good to see them sort of strut their stuff with the press. Obviously, it was just a vertical slice, but generally, as I've looked over games the last few years, the ones that do previews are the games that tend to land the strongest. The games that hand-pick outlets to play the review, and their embargo has a very short window before the release date, they end up being the worst. Well, unless you're Jedi Survivor. So, at the end of the day, the Lords of the Fallen looks like a very strong game in 2023. But more than that, it sounds like a step forward for the Souls-like genre. Will that be enough for a Game of the Year nomination? It's possible, but the shadow of Elden Ring looms large, and with 2 worlds and a special lantern, Lords of the Fallen may just be able to find its way out of the dark and into the light. Let me give you my thoughts and my conclusion. Obviously, early looks at games, vertical slices, press outlets, it can all be very slanted. We know this, right? Given the number of outlets that I looked at and just how much they broke down each piece of the preview, I feel very good about this game. My biggest takeaway is that combat feels good and the game looks great. Lingering concerns, the second thing I want to say is, I do have lingering concerns, and they kind of land in 2 lanes. First, is it going to run well lane, right? Certainly, we're not in a great spot right now, but we also kind of are in a great spot. It's a very weird place to be as a gamer. Currently, 2023 is a very mixed bag of great games. Then there's awful games. Then there are good games that, they just weren't ready for public consumption. This certainly looks like a good or a great game. I just hope it's optimized, it runs well. Really put UE5 on display and in a good light. Prove to us, hey, why is everybody switching to UE5? This could be one of the games that sort of sets that stage. The second sort of lingering concern that I have is about the 2-world system. I have played many games that innovate on things just for the sake of innovation, okay? It doesn't always push things forward, right? So I really hope that's not the case with the two-world system in Lords of the Fallen. My conclusion is this. Will Lords of the Fallen get a Game of the Year nomination? Well, the fact that I can even ask that question just shows how strong this year is. It also just shows how much game marketing is changing. We see more now of a game before it launches than any other time in gaming history. If you go back just 5 years or 10 years ago, we would get a trailer, maybe some gameplay like a montage, and that was about it. Now we get deep dives, developer Q&A sessions, extended gameplay reveals, previews, early access reviews, and more. It truly seems to be the beginning of a better age for gaming. And Lords of the Fallen could be a game that helps 2023 shine bright. And that's the show open. Thank you guys so much for being here. We've done a handful of Lords of the Fallen shows. They always manage to land on Friday morning. Start our Friday morning off strong. We are going for one more big goal today. If you guys hit the 125, I'll do the special game tonight. I'm not worried. We're going to hit the 4,000 this month. I don't have any doubts about that. But given that you always lose some members overnight, I'm not going to hold you guys. We said we were going to do like a rush goal this Friday. I'm not going to hold you to that. You guys hit 125 yesterday. I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be fair. If you guys do another 125 today, we'll do the special game tonight. We weren't gonna do the game if you didn't hit it. I'm gonna do it anyway, okay? Because currently we're at 3,650. So let's have another big day, another big goal. And DK Baker starts us off with 1, and Mike on to Mike jumps right behind him with 5, starting us off nice and strong. Thank you so much. And I am gonna check the fan funding page just to make sure I didn't miss any. And Mike on the Mic renewed as a VIP. And then we have DK Baker with 1, Mike on the Mic with 5, and Graydon with 1. Starting out nice and strong at 7. We're going to play the, whatever it's called. What's it called? Like Don't Stop Talking or We Die or Blow Up or whatever. It's a VR game where my wife's going to have to walk me through how to like dismantle a bomb. So no, not Quake 2. We were going to fall back on Quake 2 if you guys didn't hit the goal. But I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to make you hit 4,000 today. You would need to get like 300 something members today. So this game, I think, continues the discussion about Game of the Year, at least from where I sit, because the level of quality that we're getting in games, the style, the art, just everything that's going into games, it's like this is an insane, absolutely insane year for gaming. And the fact that we're having discussions almost every other week about, is this game going to get a Game of the Year? Is this game going to get a game? You're right. And we got a gifted member from Joker Quinn taking us to 8, and then my man Borbs takes us to 18 with a 10 bomb. Thank you so much, Borbs, for the 10 gifted members. Thank you guys so much for being here on this Friday. Make sure and smash the like button. Friday mornings are a little bit different. I start a teeny bit later, so turnout's always a little bit lighter. So help us out. Let's get to 200 likes. It does help out the video. It helps more people find it. Thank you guys so much for being here. What time is it? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to wait at 30 minutes. I'm going to do it. I have a little thing to tell you guys about. Best year in gaming ever. It certainly feels that way. It certainly feels like that. We are literally in the year that's finally shedding all of the problems, all of the issues that we were running into with games getting delayed and games not coming out. Now, certainly there are games coming out that are not quite up to quality because their development was probably greatly harmed by the last couple of years. But we're also getting some games that are just absolute triumphs and well reviewed. Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16. We've got Starfield around the corner, Spider-Man around the corner, Lords of the Fallen, Lies of P. There are so many games. It's honestly hard to keep track of all of them. And you better bring your A game in a year like this, right? Like, we just reviewed Atlas Fallen. Atlas Fallen, in a slow year, probably could have done okay. It probably could have fared well and did all right. But in a year like this, games like Atlas Fallen are just going to fall by the wayside. You've been putting this game on my radar. If I have time, I'm probably going to buy it. I have been really pushing for this game, right? I really, really have. I've been kind of a cheerleader for this game because I really believe there's something special here. I think this game's going to kind of surprise everybody. It's going to be one of those runaway titles that kind of comes out of nowhere, and everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, like, we had no idea that these guys could make such a great game. Armored Core, yeah, Armored Core is this year. I watched some Lords of the Fallen videos yesterday from people who played it in LA, and they said that the devs were going to fix the weapon sound as well. That is one negative piece of feedback that showed up in comments on their YouTube video, as well as one of the previews said the sound wasn't that great with some of the weapons. It sounds like you're like hitting... Like, it's like you're taking a butter knife and just slapping a steak. It doesn't sound very impactful and meaty and chunky. You want it to sound really good. You want damage to have elements of player feedback, right? There's big swings, there's sparks, there's blood splatter, and there's sound. All of these things communicate damage to the player, right? They give you the opportunity to, like, you know, feel like, hey, I'm really damaging the enemy, right? So I do want to draw attention to my shirt. You guys have noticed I've been wearing some of their shirts on a regular basis. I've got a nice backlog, but they sent me some new ones. Into the AM. You guys know I'm a huge Ghost of Tsushima fan. I had to get the Samurai shirt. Just awesome. A great shirt to wear today as we talk about Lords of the Fallen. Listen, their shirts are incredible, and they are doing a sale between today, August 11th, and August 14th. They're doing a best sellers flash sale up to 30% off, all right? Do me a favor, if you go to intotheam.com, add /Lono to the end, intotheam.com/Lono, and just use code Lono when you're there. Their shirts are high quality. They're soft. The print quality's good. I love t-shirts, and I don't wear low quality t-shirts. You guys know this. They even have their fancy little Into the AM tag down here. Fantastic products. Well worth your money. If you like buying shirts that are more like graphic tees, more like street wear, if you're kind of into synthwave, they have a lot of shirts that feel very synthwave. Check them out. Link in the description, or use my code. Thanks so much. I love working with them. Thanks for working with us Into the AM. We appreciate you guys so much over there. So, little thing. This isn't like a sponsored stream or anything. They didn't pay for the stream, but that is something that we do anytime they send us a new batch of shirts. This man's work clothes are t-shirts. That's right. That is absolutely correct. This game looking to hit different, says Free J Free. We got another gifted member during my little commercial there. Thank you, D Dizzle. D Dizzle getting us into a nice spot already. And Mick D09 caps us off. We were going to be at 19. Now we're at 20. Excellent job. Get us to 25. Every 25, I give 5. Thank you guys so much for the generosity to the stream. Every Friday, we do a slightly shorter talk show in the morning. Then I'll be hanging out with my man 30 and Still Gaming, doing a Reforge recap. A lot happened this week, and we're going to be chopping it up. Game of the Year discussions are going on because of Baldur's Gate 3. Starfield was in the news. Redfall. I covered Redfall. Nobody else is. They're ignoring the fact that the game's not getting any updates. And I'm forgetting what else now that we covered this week. We covered so much. What was the other thing that we covered? Like, my brain just completely forgot. Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, easy to forget Modern Warfare 3 because I just do not care about that game. It's shaping up to be what looks like DLC. And then yesterday, just a ton of Lords of the Fallen previews. Lords of the Fallen gameplay. Tons of gameplay previews from folks. What a great week for gaming news and things to talk about. And 5 gifted members from Borbs. Thank you so much. Borbs coming in with 5 more, putting us 100 away from the goal. Tempting 2 big boys to do 50 bombs back to back. That's a layup, isn't it? Thank you, Borbs. Bro Sexy with 14 months and it's a VIP. How am I supposed to play all these games when my backlog is busting at the seams? Dadgum. There's the dadgum emote. Definitely a good problem. What a year to be a gamer. Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially if you like RPGs. Good golly. I mean, there's just so many. If you like action RPGs, I mean, you've been eating real good, okay? You've been eating real good this year. You like action RPGs or RPGs in general, money. Final Fantasy 16, Baldur's Gate 3, The Legend of Zelda, Lords of the Fallen, Armored Core, Starfield, Diablo 4. It's like it won't stop, you know? Poor Diablo 4, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be awesome, excellent, and ready to go, or you're going to just fall by the wayside. People are just going to pitch you out the window because there's so many other games to play. That's generally been my attitude lately. It's like, I'm not going to give your game the time of day. Yo, DK Beggars, the agent of chaos. He pushes past the 25 and gives us 26. I owe you guys 5 members right now with a goal of 125. You guys are easily going to smash that home today. You guys can hit $4,000 today if you really go nuts, but we're just setting our sights on the 125 right now. It's like every genre, too. Like, we don't even talk about fighting games. Yeah, I'm not a fighting game guy, but lest we forget Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat, fighting game guys are eating good. Sports fans are eating good because you're getting frickin' Madden, you're getting NBA, you're getting the soccer game, you're getting what's called Football Club or whatever the heck. Like, very, very good year. Very good year for every single game type that you can think of. I mean, it just doesn't seem to stop. Let me save this. We will be doing a VIP debrief today. That's for VIPs only. And then tonight, I'm streaming with my wife. Every single member can come to a Friday night stream. But Friday afternoon, it's the only thing we do for VIPs. And thank you guys so much for those of you that upgrade to VIP and enjoy those streams. They're unfiltered. Creature, my producer, joins me. 30 and So Gaming hangs out with me. Racing games are going ham too. Tekken 8 is in beta. Madden is do or die this year. Yeah, wrestling games are coming out and getting good reactions. It's going wild, man. Pocket for a react. Got plans for Wednesday, August 31st around noon Pacific. Well, you do now. Join me as I host a 30-minute webinar on topics like the state of U.S. games. Look at this. Key trends in the market. Interesting. 19 months from Lido. It's a VIP. Perfect day to upgrade. He says, let's go. Yeah. Yes, indeed. A swear or two is even uttered. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You'll get to hear me actually swear. I don't swear on the public streams. I do not do that. Mokwai Ninja gifts a member. He says, guys, let's keep the gifted member train going. There's over 400 people here. If just half of you gift a single member for $5, we will smash through the Jar Jar Binks goal. If you're unaware, if we hit 4,000 members this month, I have to do a Beat Saber stream dressed as Jar Jar Binks. And I hate Jar Jar Binks. You went to the beach? I did. I went to the beach a couple weeks ago for a week with my family. My parents were there, my nephews, my brother. It was awesome. It was a fantastic trip. It really didn't even hurt us. Usually when YouTubers take a break, it really hurts. It barely bumped us. It was amazing. We came back swinging, and thankfully, gaming news came back swinging. I didn't have to really pick, what I was going to talk about. There was just good, big stories virtually every day since I've been back. Henry Heck jumps on the gifted member train. Joker Quinn jumps on the gifted member train. 29 members already. Absolutely insane. SDO with a 2-spot. Is Lords of the Fallen another Game of the Year contender? I actually do think it is a Game of the Year contender. Early previews have said you're going to notice that it looks beautiful, that it runs well, that the combat's fluid, the details in the characters and the armor. There's so many things that they had good things to say about. The only thing that I saw that was negative from the previews was, the camera got a little wonky for IGN. That's, common in games like this. And some of the sounds just aren't that impressive. It kind of sounds like you're smacking, it's like you're smacking a wet piece of meat with a spoon. Like, it just doesn't sound very strong. You want it to sound chunky and crunchy, and you want blood coming out and sparks coming out. You want it to be, you want it to look like you're doing some damage. And so they're going to work on the sound. Player feedback is incredibly important in games like this. So you can't have the sound, not delivering this chunk and this crunch in games like this. The monologues are powerful. I love it. Thank you, Emissary. I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into the monologues. I really do. Dying to hear how this runs on the Series X and the 5. Have they announced PC specs yet? I don't think they've announced PC specs. They did announce there is a 60 FPS performance mode for the Series X and the PS5. Not surprising. 60 FPS is just not really a thing anybody's shooting for, it seems, anymore for the Series S. This is the continued trend. If you guys remember, the dialogue around the Series S has changed so fast. There was a time where I kept getting told 60 FPS is no problem. You know, they'll just have to do like dynamic 1080 or whatever. 60 FPS is no problem. That fight seems to have just been conceded. This is like the fourth developer in a row to be like, nah, we're not doing 60 FPS on the Series S. We're just not. So if you have a Series X, if you have a PS5, they have said publicly that Lords of the Fallen will have a performance mode at 60. Now, we don't know how well it's going to run because the people that they played, the people that played this said that they were just playing a vertical slice. They said 60 FPS too. The tweet you put in the Discord didn't say the S. Oh, it's got the stupid dash. I didn't see that. That's my mistake. I saw it out of the corner of my eye in the Discord. That's my mistake. I am sorry. 60 FPS on the Series X, S, and PS5. They did the little hash thing. I didn't see that. That's my mistake. It was a tweet in my Discord. So, what's the resolution going to be for this game then? They're going to have to run this thing at, I would think, what, internal 920, upscaled 1080 to hit 60? Like, these are big areas. There's a lot going on. I don't understand. I would have just locked this thing at 30, but with iframes and stuff. We'll see. We'll see. Sorry for misreading the tweet. William Long gifts a member. Thank you so much. That pushes us to 30. That is a nice layup right there. 30 even. Thank you so much, William Long. Happens all good. I still don't know how it will run. That's factual. Sony have asked on X, Twitter, that's your first game that comes to mind when you see the PS1 logo? I'm not sure what you're talking about. 720 upscale to 1080. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's with what they've done. You know what I'll say? I will say this. It is possible that's why a lot of companies are switching to UE5. That's possible. Maybe getting this thing to hit 60 on the Series S is easier with Unreal 5. We've seen a lot of people switch to Unreal 5, right? So, in my mind, that's a pretty big win. If you want multi-plat games hitting Series S and not having to sacrifice too much, maybe developers are figuring out lots of nice little tricks in UE5 for optimization. We know that Fortnite is in Unreal, and they got Fortnite to hit 60 FPS on the old consoles. So there could be some secret sauce in UE5. I don't know. We're seeing CD Projekt Red ditch the Red engine. They're going to UE5. These guys built their game in UE5. We're seeing more and more games do the Unreal 5 engine, and I'll leave room for that. Maybe the Series S is down but not out, right? They're down but they're not out of the fight. They'll get more games running at better performance, you know, at the very least get more games running at 60 FPS this gen instead of having to have so many games either ditch it or in order to just get 60, you know, you sacrifice tons on your resolution. Like running a game at dynamic 1080 to hit 60 is just insane to me. Like dynamic 1080, I mean, that's just old gen. That's so ancient with respect to performance. I just don't think most people notice because a lot of people are probably still on older televisions, maybe. Yeah, I mean, Hellblade's in UE5, so there's always that possibility that this engine's got some secret sauce in it that's going to help out the Series S. Because, especially for a game like Hellblade, you can't have performance issues. That's a first-party title. That thing needs to land really, really well on both platforms. So, I saw an interview last night where it was the Kind of Funny XCast or whatever it's called, and Destin's solution was run stuff on the cloud. And then he even said they're going to have to leave behind the S eventually. And I'm like, but there were only 3 years into the generation, so you can't just leave it behind. I don't know what I think about his cloud solution. I've heard many people say that. He's not the first person to say just turn it into a cloud box. Like, do you really think Lords of the Fallen would run currently on current cloud? Do you think this would run well on cloud? I mean, you got tight iframes and parry windows and dodge windows and magic, and I don't know. That's the biggest thing I think that's a barrier. A game like this running on cloud in about 10 years, yeah, probably no problem. As the tech advances and as internet gets better, infrastructure itself needs to get better, not just internet speeds. It's the infrastructure that needs to be improved. I don't think cloud's necessarily the answer. I feel like currently cloud is an option. I don't feel like it's an answer. Although we'll likely be covering this on Monday, it seems Sony has stepped up their game and are going to jump ahead in cloud tech and latency. So I'll do my research over the weekend, and we'll cover that on Monday. We'll also be doing an upload about delayed games for PlayStation. They apparently pushed games out of fourth quarter and first quarter of next year, seemingly on purpose. I may have some theories on what they're doing, but as far as Lords of the Fallen is concerned, I'm looking at PS5 and Series X. That's what matters most to me, I'll be honest. When a game like this comes out, if it has issues on the S, certainly we'll talk about it. But my main concern is, PC, obviously. PC, PlayStation 5, and Series X. Because we've had games come out this year. When we talk about Jedi Survivor's problems, who cares about the Series S? It runs bad on PC. It runs bad on PS5. It runs bad on the Series X, right? It has I don't even know what the score is. 61% or whatever it is on Steam. So it's like that. When a game like this comes out, my primary concern is always going to be the top level consoles and the PC. Because if you can't get it to run well there, then who the frick cares about anything else? Like, the game should run well on your two next-gen consoles and PC. Like, if you can't get it to run well there, then dude, pack it up and go home. Seriously, pack it up and go home. What are we doing here? Reforge recap is coming up here in about 40 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and schedule that. If you guys didn't catch all the news this week, you can get a nice Reforge recap on Friday with me and my man 30 and Still Gaming. We appreciate the support of that show and that segment, and then that follows that precludes a VIP segment as well. And we're gonna go ahead and put us in. We'll put us in Baldur's Gate 3 for that show. That should be a good show. A lot happened this week. A lot of great things to discuss. I mean, right now, I'm curious. Do you guys think, does this game stand a shot at all in as we continue to see the game of the year running get tighter and tighter and tighter? Do you see this thing sneaking up onto the podium? If there is a tie, we're looking at 6 nominations. So if we're dealing with a tie this year, where do you think this one lands? Where do you think this one lands? Does it have a shot? Is it going to be strong enough to get a little head nod from Keeley and the press? Guys, do me a favor, if you're enjoying today's breakdown and review roundup, let's push for 300 likes. Well within our reach with 450 people here. That's an easy milestone. And then we're setting our sights on 125 members today, and we'll play a special game tonight with y'all as an incentive as we continue to push forward the big goal for the Jar Jar Binks stream. We appreciate you guys so much, especially hanging out today on a Friday. Every Friday we try to take a topic like this. It's a little different, and this thing had really okay. I was testing out something this morning with scheduling, so I scheduled the stream at I forget when it was. I want to say it was around 9. This thing had almost 10,000 impressions. Around 9,000 whenever I went live. It's interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting the way they still do that. It's very bizarre. I don't think the game will land anywhere near Game of the Year. Well, then what are your 6? What games do you think are going to make it to where this one doesn't stand a chance? That would be my question. If this game's not even going to get a nomination, then where does this game, what is the top 6 then? Looks like a better Souls game to me. Personally, I think Xbox should delay Starfield to next year. Now it's already blown away by Zelda and Baldur's Gate 3. If Starfield doesn't compete for Game of the Year, it's a huge L for Xbox. See, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't agree that you should delay your game in relation to other games coming out. Homie, you have no idea what's going to come out next year. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times do you want to do that? How many times do you want to kick the can down the road to the point where, every year big games are going to come out? You can't just keep booting the ball down the road to be like, well, we got to keep delaying for Game of the Year. If they get a Game of the Year nomination, I would say that's plenty. That's good enough. I don't think Starfield wins it. I think it could, but I don't think it ultimately walks away. I think Baldur's Gate 3 locked it up. This is about making money or winning awards. If the game's ready to sell, then you sell it. Starfield doesn't need Game of the Year. It just needs to not suck. I think if there's a tie, Enjoy says, then this game has a chance. But if there's no tie, no shot. Yeah, if there's only 5 up there, I think this thing will have a tough time. Zelda, Mario, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man, Starfield. RE4 is right off the top of my head, plus Hogwarts, FF16, Diablo 4. Yeah, what were they playing on? It sounded like they were playing on a PC, Crenab. I don't think they were playing on consoles. It sounded like they were playing on PCs. I'm in a camp of one thinking Resident Evil 4 won't get the nod for Game of the Year. I'm in agreement with Jake. I think this year's too tight. I don't think a remake gets up there. In a year this strong with this many brand new games, I don't think a remake gets up on the podium for Game of the Year. No way. As great as RE4 was, let's say this game delivers a 9 out of 10 experience, then you put this game up on the podium, dadgummit. It's a brand new game. Like, come on. I love a good remake. I do. And RE4, as much as I didn't like it, it was beautiful, and fans of Resident Evil were so pleased. But you don't put a remake up on the podium when you have this strong of a year. I just don't agree with that at all. On principle alone. Like, so much work into brand new games, brand new IP. Like, I know Lords of the Fallen had a game before, but this is essentially a soft reboot. This is almost a brand new IP at this point. Yeah, Alan Wake 2 is coming. It's more of a reimagining than a remake. I'll accept that trophy. I'll accept that it's not just a straight up one-to-one remake where like everything's basically the same. I accept your pushback. I still don't think you put it up on the podium for Game of the Year. Resident Evil 4 can win so many awards. It doesn't need a Game of the Year nomination when you have a year this insane. Hogwarts, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy 16. Like, what are we even talking about? Armored Core. Like, come on, man. What are we even talking about? You can't put a remake up there when you got that many insanely good games. Game of the Year predictions: Spider-Man 2, Starfield, Baldur's Gate 3, Long Shot, Lords of the Fallen, Bias Pick, Tears of the Kingdom. Dark City says Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush, no. Zelda, Hogwarts, Baldur's Gate 3, Mario Wonder. Yeah, we keep forgetting about Mario. Mario is almost assuredly going to be up there. Resident Evil 4 is worthy of a Game of the Year nomination, just not this year. Keep forgetting Spider-Man. $5 Super Chat tip from Mike on the mic. Thank you guys so much. What's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. You just can't drop Hogwarts out of Game of the Year. I don't think so. I think it's going to be incredibly hard to sneak in to Game of the Year this year. I think Hi-Fi Rush will get nominations, but I don't think Hi-Fi Rush will get nominations for Game of the Year. It'll get nominated for Breakout Indie or something like that. Mike on the mic says, hey guys, wake up. If we're going to hit this goal, we got to get to work. He gifts 5 members and bumps it to 35. If you guys can hit 125 today, my wife and I will do a special VR stream tonight. Typically what we do is on a Friday night, we just hang out and talk, and then we end the night with a game, all right? We will end the night with keep talking and nobody explodes. I'll be wearing a VR headset, right? And my wife will be talking me through how to dismantle the bomb. It should be hilarious, especially at the end of the night instead of the beginning of the night. So, help us hit that goal, and we'll do that fun segment with you this evening. I also can't wait for the PlayStation to get the co-pilot thing added globally to its settings. We did that in Horizon Forbidden West, and it was so fun. They're going to be adding that as a global setting on the PlayStation 5. We have some really fun segments planned. Enjoy gifts a member and says, come on, y'all. Excuse me. Come on, y'all. We just need like 90 people to gift one. There's almost 500 people here. Make sure you guys are smashing the like button. Eugene says, remaking a literal industry-defining game and pulling it off like that is worthy of immense recognition. It's just going to be hard this year in regards of Game of the Year. Yeah, you almost need a remake category, right? You know, like Dead Space, Resident Evil 4. You know what I'm saying? Has Mario ever won Game of the Year? I don't think so. Well, not from Keeley's event, no. Resident Evil 4 is my Game of the Year. Zinthos with 23 months on the VIP says, almost at that red badge. One more month, Zinthos. Thanks so much for being here. The Game of the Year winners have been like Dragon Age Inquisition, Witcher 3, Sekiro, Elden Ring, God of War, Last of Us Part 2. SSJ Gohan gifts 5 members. He says, look, y'all, we can do a 5 gifted member train, not even a single. He jumps on and tag teams with Mike on the mic, and Zinthos jumps in with the single and bumps it to the meaning of life. 42 members on the day. Thank you so much, Zinthos, for gifting a member. If you're getting a gifted member right now, consider paying it forward. We can create an ever-moving member record if you guys just always pay it forward. If you get a gifted member, then just gift one and just keep paying it forward like those days they do at the drive-thru where everybody keeps paying for the person behind them. Resident Evil 4 Remake is a whole different game. I don't want to take away from it. I really don't. I think the issue really truly is this year is insane. Like, that's the problem. You're in a year where we're having a hard time deciding what the top 5 games are. I think Kick Chat is broken. I can see what you're saying, Crenab, but I forgot. I rarely stream over there on a Friday. Chemist R1 with a 20 bomb. Never seen this guy drop a 20 bomb before. I don't even know if he's gifted before. He steps into the ring in a big way, and he just drops 20 members on the chat. What a flex. Let me push the door open. I'm getting warm. We're struggling in August. Yeah, it's August and we're struggling to pick the top 5, top 6 games of the year. I agree with the Diablo 4 takes. I was just wondering if those things would be considered on the Game of the Year stage. Yeah, I don't honestly know, Cisco, because Diablo 4 will likely not get a Game of the Year nomination because when they ask everybody for their top 5, top 6 games, the press is going to weigh all things at that point, and they're going to say, yeah, no, Diablo 4 is struggling. It wasn't ready. They've had to make lots of changes and balances and revert and undo and redo stuff. You know, I think that hurts it in the running. I really, really do. I don't think you can just overlook that and say, oh, but the story was good, or the campaign was good, or the cinematics were really strong, or... You know, I think YouTube chat's acting up again. It sounds like you've had some nice weather in Kentucky. We actually have. Maybe 4 or 5, says Eugene. What's going on? What's going to be wild is Diablo 4 will have the most amount of game time from me by a mile, but it won't be my game of the year. The press are a fickle group of people. Yeah, I continue to just chisel away at Final Fantasy 16. I'm telling you, that game is going to be up there. I don't see how that game doesn't get up there. It's such an incredible game. The story, the cinematics, the combat, The graphics. Catwalk gifts a member and bumps the line to 63. Thank you so much, Catwalk. Guys, do not let the big 20 bombs scare you away from doing a single gifted member train. Everybody can jump on and pay it forward. This debate means it's been a great year for gaming, and it's not even close to over yet. Yeah, we still haven't played Starfield. We still haven't played Armored Core. We haven't played Alan Wake 2. We still haven't played Spider-Man 2. I mean, we haven't really even touched some of the big dogs yet. I mean, we've touched most of them, but there are still some absolute monsters in the room that haven't even come out of the box yet. It's about to heat up, right? Final Fantasy 16. It's this, and the ending is Chef's Kiss. Please finish it. I'm treating it like a television show. I sit down and play for an hour. It's so satisfying. It's one of the most satisfying games I've ever played in short spurts. Usually playing in a short spurt is annoying. That game's like perfect for short spurts. You do 1 or 2 missions, you get a bunch of great scenes and character development, and then you shut it down. It's awesome. J-Dog was 16 months, and it's a VIP. Yo, I know you, Joe, changing your name, Joey. Joey V, changing his name to J-Dog. 16-month milestone, so Hot Lono had to open the door. That's right, baby. A $2 super chat tip from William Lewis. Don't forget Alone in the Dark, hoping it is good. A backlog is punching the air right now. Oh, I see it, dude. So many games. So many games I want to play. Remnant 2, Synapse. Got you streaming live on a little island in Thailand. So cool. That's a remarkable. The internet's in so many places now. Little tiny outlets like that. That's crazy. Can't wait for Baldur's Gate 3 to come out on PS5. I was not looking at that game at all, and now I'm like, maybe I'll be able to play this with Madam. Quantum Error, do you think it'll be any good? I think it'll be good. I think it might get some indie noms, 35-hour Remnant 2, it's such a good game. Why is my office so hot? Ask the man constantly yelling and getting agitated. Shut up, Zubair. It's like, why is it hot? Why is it so hot? I'm taking Final Fantasy 16 slow, doing some of the side quests and the hunts. Well, do you guys think that Elden Ring plays a factor this year for Lords of the Fallen? Do you know what I'm saying? Is the shadow of Elden Ring, can it reach this far? When they go to do nominations, they go to do the votes, they go to do the player votes, do you think this game is going to sit a little bit too much underneath that shadow? People are going to say, yeah, Elden Ring won last year. This game's kind of like Elden Ring in a lot of ways, so let's just, you know what I'm saying? Do you think Elden Ring poses a threat or a problem to Lords of the Fallen? Synapse is such a good game. I wish I had time for that game. I absolutely love Synapse. I'm sure it greased the wheels for the consumer. We will have to see how the consumers react, says Zubair. That's something to consider, Zuby, is that like Elden Ring, it may be a shadow, but it's also a bit of a runway. You're going to have way more people willing to try out a game like this because of Elden Ring. Like, Elden Ring was kind of hot. I've never really played these games before. This game looks sick. Elden Ring got knocks for not having pretty graphics. This game looks really pretty, so it gets that nod. Says, now that's a name, Cream Pie Samurai. This year's tough, says Kenneth. We literally have to wait until November before we truly have an idea. I think Elden Ring has opened the door for these types of games for the masses, says Jake. So you guys are seeing it from the other side of the coin. You're saying, nah, I think Elden Ring helps this game more than hurts it. If Lords of the Fallen can reach the fever pitch of Elden Ring, then that in and of itself is an accomplishment. In my opinion, Elden Ring is a problem for Lords of the Fallen, says Borbs. You guys got to help out our man Borbs. You got to help out our man that dropped the 20 bomb today. K-Mist R1. And we got 5 bombs up there from SSJ Gohan and Mike on the mic. Keep it flowing. You guys are halfway to the 125. Elden Ring had phenomenal visuals, though. Here's the thing with Elden Ring. I think we have to talk about art style, not graphical fidelity. Elden Ring's art style was phenomenal. Graphical fidelity, it wasn't a next-gen game. It didn't really set out to be one, and that's okay. I think you have to praise it in the appropriate category, which is art style, art direction. I was around during the Twitch days, but I mostly lurk. Well, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate... There's a lot of people coming back around from those days, you know? And I appreciate it. I think it does leave a hangover, says Paul. It's like the MCU after Endgame. It's hard to ever hit that high again. I actually think that's well stated. I think that is going to be one of the challenges, is that Elden Ring just was so good that overcoming that in the Souls genre for Game of the Year is going to be very, very difficult. I'm 85 hours into Baldur's Gate 3 and loving it. The storytelling, the unique way you can approach each puzzle and battle. It'll walk Game of the Year, says B-Nipple. Parasito says Lono is on his not next-gen graphics days again. I feel like that's an easy discussion that people complicate. I really do, right? Ginger Prime did a follow-up video to my video. He reacted to me talking about Starfield when I said it's not going to be a top-shelf next-gen game, mainly because it doesn't have 60 FPS. That takes it off the top shelf. It's that simple. I think we overcomplicate these discussions. This is a top-shelf next-gen game. Really? It's capped at 30 FPS. I don't see how that can be classified as a top-shelf next-gen game. You know what a top-shelf next-gen game is? It ain't that. Arcane Gaming gifts a member. Thank you so much, Arcane Gaming, trying to stoke the fires of the member goal, and he bumps the line to 64. One can't play graphics. Nobody's saying you can play graphics, but you're allowed to have a discussion about graphical fidelity. We're allowed to have a discussion about next-gen graphics, are we not? That was a huge focus this generation. Suddenly, nobody wants to talk about that, and seemingly it's people from the non-PlayStation side. PC users don't mind talking about graphics. PlayStation 5 owners don't mind talking about graphics. There's only one side of the aisle right now that doesn't really want to talk about next-gen graphics all of a sudden. We're not talking about 4K gaming anymore. We're not talking about up to 120. We're not talking about that anymore. Now we're acting like that's not a big deal. Why are we talking about that? That's everything we heard walking into this generation. What the frick? Now we're not supposed to talk about graphics? 5 gifted members from Arcane Gaming. He can't resist. He can't resist to bump the line to 69. I need some nice in the chat. Thank you, Arcane Gaming. 69 members out of 125. Nice. And 10. And 10, he says, I'm not done. He says, you think I'm done? This is just a pit stop. He goes all the way to 79. This guy's just running the board by himself. Is anybody going to get up there with him? This is insane. He just took over the top of the chat. Have we seen Starfield run on the Xbox anyway? It doesn't look good. It has to run at 30. I mean, we've only seen PC gameplay. That's an excellent point. What's the lighting? What's the foliage going to look like? What's the textures going to look like? What's about the shadows? What about the draw distance? Butters, I saw that. I tweeted that last night. I'm so excited for them. They replied to my tweet. I'm so excited for them. Gollum gets Game of the Year. How are the reviews on the game? Currently, the Lords of the Fallen preview roundup that I did, it's all positive. Arcane Gaming says 10 at a time will do just fine. This is his board. Is anybody going to take the glory from him just poking the number by tens? This is unbelievable. Nobody's going to stop this guy. Graphics hand-waving is a leftover talking point from old Nintendo apologist. I was one. I'm more interested in the gameplay loop for Starfield. At one level, I would say I agree with you. Right? Let's get that extra stream, says Arcane Game. And he's like, come on, boys. Come on. Let's get there. At one level, I agree with you, Trophy. Yes. Joker Quinn says, let's get this odd number out of here. He bumps the 89 to 90, but then Mike on the mic says, sorry, buddy, I stepped on your toes, and he bumps the line to 91. Thank you guys so much for those single gifted members. Currently, the member count is sitting at 3711. 3711, so close to 4,004. The Jar Jar Binks stream, if you hit 125 today, though, I'll make good. I'll say, listen, you guys hit 125 yesterday. You hit 125 today. I'll make good on the promise. We'll play that VR game tonight with Madam. It'll be fun. I want both, an engaging game that looks spectacular. Yo, 5 months from Arcane Gaming says, where my big boys at? Arcane Gaming's calling on the big boy gifters. He says, where y'all at? He's wanting to hit 4K today. William Lewis with $2 super chat. October's a huge month for this year. Starfield PC will be the definitive version, says Brap. Brap. I can't co-sign that yet because I'm not confident this thing. It's not a Starfield stream. I'm going to talk Starfield with Mike in a minute on the Reforge recap. In 20 minutes, I'm going to recap the week. That's a subject over there. Is Starfield and the no console required. And I don't even know that, Brap. I don't even know that. Todd Howard's commentary about that game, I can't co-sign. Oh, it'll be the definitive way to play it. You sure about that? Because I'm not. One more gifted member comes in from Darth Nihilus and another one from William Lewis. It's a double whammy taking us to 93. Y'all just don't stop with the generosity. If you've never been here before or seen a stream like this, we have an engrossing conversation every day, debating, discussing, dialoguing. It's a safe for work podcast with one of the most generous, if not the most generous community on YouTube, Parasito, with 10 gifted members, and he pushes us over 100. We're just like that. 103. Give me 2 singles. Let's bait one of the big boys. Put it to 105 and just lay up that 20. Todd says it runs great on the S. Yeah, Todd Howard also thinks 30 FPS is okay. Casual Grinder says, I don't need an invitation. I don't need a layup. I'm just gonna do it. You can't stop me. I'll do it on my own. Big 20 bomb from Casual Grinder. The king himself. King Gifter last month was Casual Grinder. He beat out Javier Cotto by 2 gifted members, and he's back again. Square said that Final Fantasy 16 was flawless, so take what Todd said with a grain of salt. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very frustrated. Where are the patches for Final Fantasy 16? Where are they? Arcane Gaming caps it off with more. Another 20 bomb, taking us to 143, 144 with 1 from Patrick, 145 with 1 from Zinthos. I'm shoutcasting gifted members because it's Friday, and that's what we do. Thank you so much for the insane generosity. Appreciate everybody here. Did you just do an Alex Cam close-up? Did you just call it an Alex Cam close-up? I invented this. That's not an Alex thing, brother. I've been streaming for 8 years. You think he's the first person to do the zoom in? Buddy, I've been zooming in since you probably wore diapers, if you were wearing them 8 years ago. According to that math, I just roasted up like a 9-year-old. This just in, YouTube streamer absolutely destroys a 9-year-old. Casual Grinder brings in the 20 bomb again. It's a 20 gifted member train. Get on board. The elevator's taking the chat all the way up. I am the close-up. I am the close-up. Tim the Tapman would like to know your location. Arcade Gaming does another one. It's a 20 gifted member train. They said we couldn't do it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna go for the $4,000 today. These guys are insane. If the other big boys show up and join this 20 gifted member train, you could hit 4K today. Absolutely insane. Every Friday, you guys make it so hard for me to go do this Reforge recap segment with 30 and still gaming, but we're going to do it. You got 15 minutes. You guys go nuts every Friday. I can't believe it. We wore diapers at the same time, homie. We're both 42. I just can't believe you said Alex Cam close-up. Bro. I've been doing close-ups for I don't even know the first time I experimented with that. That was a long time ago on Purple. Alex Cam close-up. Get out of here. I may not be able to balance on the chair and slap my thighs, okay? But I can throw down a pretty good stream, okay? And I'm not a cheap date either. I ain't taking my shirt off for $50. Alex! Yeah! I'm just kidding. He knows I love him. He's been leaving it on face cam for minutes for years. Yeah, I invented the zoom in cam. Do you guys ever see me leave it on Zoom and play games with Hilly because I've been drinking and I have no idea what I'm doing? There's infamous Casual Grinder. Brings us to 205. This guy doesn't stop. Taking us to 205 on the day, almost doubling what we were asking for today. Casual Grinder is insane. Marshmallow says, I got to get a piece of this member train. Even if it's one, I want to be a part of the glory, and he gifts a member as well. Recently upgraded to green screen Beat Saber as well. That's right. That's right. You get nothing but the best here. You get me playing a video game like this, forgetting it's on Zoom. You get me zooming in. You got me with the VR headset zoomed in. Do you remember that? I did that during Call of the Mountain. All right? Okay? Don't talk to me about Zoom cam. Does Casual Grinder have a wing of your house named after him? Let me give you guys a member count. Let's just see how close you guys have gotten it to the 4,000. 3828. What in the world is going on? You guys are 170 away. I owe you 40. So you're really only 110 away. You're only 110 members away, because with my giftage, you guys can hit 4,000 today. That's insanity, because I have to give you 20 every 100. I owe you 40. That knocks it down to 130, which means you really only need 110, because then I'd give you another 20 to get you to 130. That is bonkers insane. Did I miss Lono's announcement? What announcement? I'm not... I don't have an announcement. What happened to Lords of the Fallen? A gifted member train happened to Lords of the Fallen. That's what happened. We talked about Lords of the Fallen for about 45 minutes or so, and then this is where we are, right? This is where we are. You know? Math. That's right. Quick maths. Slickness says, that's it? Get him. 110. Hey, what's good, Lazaro? I haven't seen you in a minute. Yes, the beginning of the screen. Let me give you guys a quick recap of the Lords of the Fallen preview roundup, okay? Lords of the Fallen gameplay continues to get trotted out, and there was a press preview of about 2 hours. I believe it was a preview event in LA. We just bumped to 207. Thank you so much, Lord Hog. He says 110. Now we need 109 more. Thank you so much, sir. Let's just do this. Let's just give you guys the visual. If you hit that, we're in. Parasito says we can do it. Parasito bumps the line by 10, taking us to 217, 222 with another 5 from Detonator, 242! Casual Grinder with another 20! This guy's insane. I can't even do a recap of the stream, but I'm going to try. If you're just tuning in, the Lords of the Fallen preview roundup basically consisted of Fexture Life talking about how you will notice that the visuals are wonderful, the combat is fluid, the bosses are creative with good mechanics, the Umbral Axiom mechanic is actually quite good. They're worried that it might be gimmicky. There was a fight where he had to kill a guy that was debuffing a guy that was invisible, but you also can use it to solve puzzles, and you also can use it to go into the darker realm after you die, and then after you die, you really die in the darker realm, which means then you're dead. I have concerns about the Umbral Axiom realm, but overall this game sounds very promising, and we've even debated whether or not it could be Game of the Year, because this does maybe stand underneath the shadow of Elden Ring, but it also could be running on the runway of Elden Ring, given now that Souls-like games are considered more mainstream. Is this game a Game of the Year contender? Maybe, in the previews seem to point that it's actually on the road to get there, so let's go back to the gifted member train. We've got more games coming in. That was the fastest recap in the history of my channel, and another 20 from Arcane Gaming, and 5 from Kale, and 5 from Machwe Ninja, and 1 from Zinthos. Goodness gracious, I'm gonna have a heart attack. That's 25-31 31 more members. That's 273. There it is. That's it. That's the fastest recap you're ever going to get. Then you're dead. That's right. You're dead in the dead realm. Diablo Dark Matter becomes a member. Welcome in, Diablo Dark Matter. Lona was speedrunning that recap. That's right. Could you repeat that, but faster? Come on, man. Come on. I don't want to break the sound barrier. 274, another gifted member coming in. Thank you so much, Narwaffle. Every Friday, the hype, it just gets absolutely insane. You guys have 8 minutes. 8 minutes before we go to the Reforge recap. Last week, you played 1,225 years of Baldur's Gate 3. As we head into the second week of launch, we've compiled some tasty stats for you to sink your teeth into. How many people banged the bear? That's all I want to know. I don't care about anything else. Scratch has been petted over 750,000 times. No. That's a dog. What about the bear? How many people banged the bear? Where is that stat? Is that anywhere? No? All right, hang on. Oh, I'm on the wrong account. Discard. I gotta tweet that. Hang on. And quote tweet. But how many people bang the bear? Right? Players spent a combined 88 years in character creation. Lazaro jumps back in as a member. Welcome back. Eugene, almost at 24 months in a VIP Plus. Tune in for blinding shoulders against a green screen. Shut up. Oh my gosh. Shut up. What did Zubair say last week? That your skin's so bright it makes computers stop working? I don't know how they're asking the real question. Yeah, how many people banged the bear? I don't care about how many people petted the dog, you know? How many people took that bear to bed? Lone away chance of a video or show on Immortals of Avium. I'll be honest with you, FCat. I'll play Immortals of Avium the day it launches, but I can't see a talk show about it. It's not really pulling. You know, I didn't do any shows about Atlas Fallen as an example, but I played it and did a review. I'll likely give Immortals of Avium similar treatment. Now, if I can get early access to give you guys another great review like I did with, Atlas Fallen, sure. But, another gifted member. Uh-oh. 275. Everybody hold. That's a 50 bomb away. Shh. I'm just listening to see if, online MVP is here. No, he's not. Soulspire's not here. I don't think either. That's a tempting 50 slam. Look at that reflection. You're so mean. That is so mean. You're literally making fun of my skin. I don't have any control over that, bro. I don't have any control over this. It's like you can't really tell where the shirt ends and my skin begins, right? If it wasn't for this mole, you'd be like, what's happening here? So mean. Immortals has gone gold. Oh, it has? Hey, y'all over there on Kick, I got to shut down Kick. Come over to YouTube because I got to switch. I'm gonna get everything set up to do this stream with 30 and Still Gaming. Okay, let me close out of all of this. You roll a 1, critical fail. Bear gives you the yeah, with teeth, Zuby. With teeth. That's terrible. Oh, the air! Kodo comes swinging in like Tarzan. He said, you were hoping for Stone Spire or online MVP, but it's me. I'm the one who knocks. He takes it to 325. That's it. I owe you guys, what is that? I owe you 60 members. Brad DeVries comes in and gifts a member as well. The Agent of Chaos, he says, we will not stand on a nice, even, crispy 325, and he bumps it to 326. Javier Cotto, you are an absolute insane gifter. He says, I want top gifter this month. Casual Grinder's not beating me. He got beat by 2 gifted members last month. Lono's going to have to start naming rooms in his house after these. But, Papa, why do you have to name my room Javier Cotto? Why? My wife's like, I'm not putting Casual Grinder as a vanity license plate on the car. I'm not doing it. I'm not driving the van around with that vanity license plate. No one will understand what it means. They will not think it's a video game reference. I'm not doing it. If you guys just got gifted a member, this is a great day to get gifted a member. Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I do a stream with my wife, and you guys just unlocked a special one. We're going to hang out tonight. We're going to have some drinks. We're going to have some laughs. And then we're going to play Don't Stop Talking or We Explode, where I have to wear like a VR headset, and my wife has to like talk me through dismantling it. It will likely be hysterical. And you guys have officially hit 4,000 members, because once I gift the members that I owe you, and the goal of 4,000 members was for a Beat Saber Jar Jar Binks stream, you're at 3,942. My gifted 60 will push us right over the 4,000 mark. So you've done it. I will have my wife find a she'll do it. She will find a Jar Jar Binks outfit. Okay? She'll do it. I have to load up Discord and get Mike in here. Love seeing the show sidelined by all these gifted memberships. Love seeing the community continue to expand. We always pick like a very like quick topic on Fridays because of you guys continually doing this. Let me go to notifications here. Disable all sound notifications. Okay, we're good. So I can hop in this call with Mike. Pop out. There we go. J-Dog and Biggie Smalls, thank you guys so much.
What's going on?
What's up? I can't.
The camera's not going on.
See you just.
Oh, why? Got it. One second. It's going to be a little awkward when you tell your kid to go to Javier Corto room. Instead of going to your room, you tell them, you say, go to Casual Grinder.
Go to Casual Grinder. Go to Javier Cotto's room.
You go to Javier Cotto's room, okay?
And I have to say it the way I said on stream. Javier Cotto. They're like, can you stop screaming, Papa? Just stop it. Their behavior just skyrockets. They like become little angels. Big Mike. Yeah. Hang on. Let me get us in the rundown scene. There we go. We'll keep that goal up there for you guys. I'm going to do the 60 that I actually owe you 65. I'll do them in the stream with Mike. It actually helps. It helps the stream out a teeny bit. You're still going to dress up like Jar Jar Binks? My wife said she was having a hard time finding one. I'm like, babe, there's got to be Jar Jar Binks outfits out there. Come on.
You're going to get one of those crappy... It's either going to be the latex mask that you can't breathe in, or it's going to be that plastic, like, Halloween thing. You know what I mean? That's going to, like, hurt your face because the eye holes are too small.
Yeah, it's either going to have to be, like, the best quality ever or the cheapest ever. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Because both will be hilarious. It's a matter of which we feel like doing. Oh, my God. Okay, let me feature this video on the channel. Guys, if redirect doesn't work, the Reforge recap will be featured on the channel. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I see it already. I just did a search. I see the one you're going to get. It's going to be hideous.
Perfect. Okay. Okay. All right. Get a tweet going.
Come on, chat.
All right. Reforge recap. It was so fun last week. I was like, let's just do it again. Not scrounging around for a topic. There's too many already. Baldur's Gate, MW3, Starfield, Redfall. He's got to balance out the acidity in chat. I am not wearing a Princess Leia outfit with a Jar Jar head on. That doesn't even make any sense.
You gotta stick to the lore. Come on. He can't mix match like that.
If there's one thing that always sets me off about Jar Jar is the people that like really buy into the fact that he's a Sith Lord. I'm like, I get so angry.
I love that though. That fan theory is so good. Have you ever watched the video of the theory of it, and then they show like the way he acts through the episodes? It's amazing, and it connects to. Have you ever watched all the Clone Wars?
I know, and that's why I get angry. I get violently angry. I was like, I want to punch whoever made that video.
Yeah, they in Clone Wars, he literally gets like blasted with the Force energy from the sisters, right? So literally, that's when they say he becomes like a Sith Lord because he absorbs the Force energy. I'm like, son of a bitch. I was like, it's plausible.
I will never concede. I'll be on my deathbed. Like, one last thing.
Yeah.
Jar Jar was not a Sith Lord. Okay. All right, let me get a document open here. Give myself some show notes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, actually, I'm not excited for Armor Core. I've never played any Armor Core before. I know you don't have to play the Armor Cores previous to like this one, but I'm not. I think I'm just too invested in the Transformers Reactivate game to be excited for Armor Core 6. Like, I want the Transformer experience. I don't want a mech experience. I'm loving Baldur's Gate. I'm only about eight and a half hours in, so I barely touched the surface, but I'm absolutely loving it. Oh, Lono hears me. He just doesn't respond because I'm not talking to him.
That's the show. That's the show. Is like, yeah, Mike just says stuff, and I just pretend I'm like, I don't even, there's somebody else here.
Yeah. That would be like super hard to do. Like, if I say something, you would have to say something completely different just to ignore it.
The other day, I was just having a sandwich chat, and I just they didn't put enough mustard on it.
Did you play Armor Core, Lono? Did you play Armor Core?
I think Spider-Man might actually be a game of the year if you guys think about it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I love Star Wars as well. Yeah, Star Wars is fantastic.
Just finished Star Trek Strange New Worlds listening. People like, it's the weirdest freaking podcast I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even think people would watch. They just get angry. They're like, I have to turn it off.
Just answer one question.
They're like, I didn't have ADHD, but can a video give you ADHD? Like, that podcast gave it to me. I feel afflicted now.
No, Graydon, I haven't seen Running Man yet. From when you said it yesterday to today, no, I haven't had time to watch it. I haven't had time to watch it.
Armored Core. What are the other ones that people keep saying? RE4 remake. I might be forgetting some. Okay. Just give myself some show notes so we don't just wander all the way up. Okay, guys, I am going to gift, like I said, I'm going to gift the 65 members that I owe you. I will do that over in the next stream. I appreciate you guys going absolutely insane. Obviously, you can keep pushing it. It's down in the corner. Not a lot of shout-outs during the show. Do me a favor. If you guys have not smashed the like button yet on today's stream, do that. We only need 40 more for 300. The Friday morning streams tend to do very well as a VOD, especially when they have some, some good push and some good treatment. So make sure and smash that like button. And then go crazy with the likes on the next stream. I'm going to redirect you. I'm also going to put a link in chat. Get over in this next stream and smash the like button. It's a great segment with Mike and I, and last week it did so well. We want to keep doing this. It's really fun to recap the whole week with you. I hope you guys enjoy it. Show that appreciation with some likes over there, okay? Thanks so much for checking out a weekly Reforge recap where I sit down with my good friend 30 and So Gaming and recap the gaming news of the week, and there was a lot that happened this week. The Game of the Year discussion is heating up, centered around Baldur's Gate 3, now at the highest Metacritic score of the year, a 97, and it is still impending its launch on PS5, with Xbox likely landing sometime in 2024. That debate just continues to swirl between the two console teams. Modern Warfare 3 announced its release date. There's worry and criticism there about it just being DLC repackaged as a new game. There was a Starfield commercial. Redfall still hasn't received an update, and Avowed dropped co-op. So we're going to be talking about all this stuff. I'm going to end the previous stream. We covered Lords of the Fallen. The previews are coming in, and they